Princess Anne's rumored legal challenge against Queen Camilla has become the subject of intense speculation among royal watchers, stirring intrigue far beyond the usual swirl of palace gossip. According to insiders, the first hints of this bold maneuver emerged shortly after the late Queen Elizabeth II's personal effects were catalogued, when diaries and letters purportedly revealed her private concerns about Camilla's increasing authority. Some observers theorize that these documents entrusted to Anne in confidence may have outlined unspoken hopes for a different line of succession, or, at the very least, a cautious approach to Camilla's public profile. While Buckingham Palace has neither confirmed nor denied the existence of any lawsuit, Anne's discreet demeanor has fueled curiosity about the severity of her reservations. Those close to the princess suggest that her motivation is rooted less in personal animosity and more in fulfilling what she interprets as her mother's final wishes, preserving the equilibrium of an institution that has carefully balanced tradition and evolution for centuries. Speculative reports claim Anne quietly consulted senior legal minds with deep ties to the monarchy, exploring whether a case could be mounted to challenge Camilla's title or to impose limits on her formal influence. Although royal protocol typically discourages open confrontations, especially of a judicial nature, Anne's decision of genuine mark an unprecedented departure from past disputes, which have usually been resolved behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Camilla's supporters dismiss these rumors as unsubstantiated, arguing that any suggestion of legal action is simply another chapter in the long saga of tensions that arise whenever the crown transitions from one reign to the next. Still, the mere possibility of a lawsuit has captivated the public imagination, prompting many to wonder if we are on the cusp of witnessing one of the most dramatic shakeups in Windsor history.
How on earth do you prepare for that?
Good question. We've been very lucky. My mother was the Queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much. Not least of all because the monarchy is about continuity. But I think for my brother, this is something he's been waiting for. And he's probably spent more time thinking about it. For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support. And that's what we need to do.
And what does that shift look like for you?
Well, that's we don't know yet. I mean, there was an order to the years because my mother didn't change very much. We kind of knew what the rhythm of the year was. Mm-hmm. So things like that will change, and how we are part of the support for the monarchy may change slightly. Who knows?
Queen Elizabeth II's reign remains a testament to the delicate interplay between unwavering tradition and gradual modernization, a balance she cultivated throughout her 70-year rule. Despite ascending the throne at a time when television was a rarity and social media unimaginable, she recognized early on that the monarchy could either adapt to the spirit of each era or risk being seen as a relic of the past. By allowing the live broadcast of her 1953 coronation, she instantly brought the royal family into millions of households, bridging the gap between an ancient institution and an evolving public eager for new forms of connection. Over the decades, she consistently demonstrated her willingness to modernize without losing sight of her role as a guardian of heritage. Her dedication to duty went well beyond ceremonial obligations. Privately, she was known as a mother and grandmother who encouraged her heirs to think for themselves while respecting their shared legacy. Publicly, she often engaged with the international community, positioning the crown as a symbolic figurehead for unity and diplomacy. The Commonwealth, one of her deepest passions, grew into an entity that embraced diverse cultures, languages, and perspectives, reflecting her desire for a more inclusive global relationship. Through her countless tours and meetings with world leaders, she skillfully used soft power to maintain Britain's influence, while projecting a sense of stability in times of geopolitical uncertainty. In her later years, rumors circulated that she spent considerable time advising William and Catherine on how to navigate the demands of modern royal life. While largely kept out of the public eye, these mentorship sessions allegedly covered everything from digital communication to philanthropic priorities that resonate with younger generations. Even those who question the relevance of a hereditary monarchy often credit Elizabeth II for maintaining the institution's dignity and resilience in an era defined by rapid technological and cultural shifts. Her quiet, steadfast leadership style formed an anchor in moments of crisis. During times of scandal or family tension, she rarely resorted to grand declarations, preferring instead to deliver measured addresses that reassured the nation while preserving the monarchy's mystique. This approach underscored her belief that longevity depends on both the ability to respond to challenges and the wisdom to avoid inflaming them. As she advanced in age, her commitment to evolve remained evident in the symbolic gestures that signaled a cautious handover of responsibilities to the younger royals. While she never openly confessed any grand master plan for the monarchy's future, those closest to her speak of carefully laid intentions that would allow the institution to remain both respected and relatable. Indeed, much of Elizabeth II's perceived success lies in her power to unify tradition with progress, ensuring that the crown continued to have relevance in a rapidly changing world. In this sense, her legacy transcends the numerous ceremonies, parades, and televised Christmas speeches. It lives in the royal family's ongoing attempts to serve as a stable yet forward-thinking presence, guided by her enduring example. Even after her passing, the memory of her life's work endures, inspiring debates about how her heirs will carry forward the mission of balancing heritage with the demands of contemporary life, an endeavor she championed with quiet determination for over 7 decades. Rising tensions within the royal household have often remained hidden behind the stately walls of palaces and castle corridors, but recent developments suggest that this veil of discretion is beginning to slip. Conversations once held in hushed tones are now seeping into public discourse, fueling speculation about power struggles that pit longtime family members against each other in unexpected ways. Some observers pinpoint the source of this friction to the sensitive period following Queen Elizabeth II's passing, when responsibilities and titles shifted more rapidly than many had anticipated. Others argue that such strains have been percolating for years, only now boiling over amid questions about who truly holds sway in this newly reconfigured monarchy. According to palace sources familiar with the day-to-day rhythms of court life, carefully choreographed appearances do little to mask the subtle signs of discord. Footmen whisper about late-night meetings in drafty drawing rooms where voices are occasionally raised, and the usual veneer of civility wears thin. One rumor holds that a high-profile royal dinner ended abruptly after a spirited disagreement about how best to honor the late queen's wishes. By the next morning, staff noted a distinct chill between individuals who ordinarily maintained cordial relations, fueling speculation that alliances were beginning to form behind the scenes. In this charged atmosphere, each gesture becomes a potential flashpoint. Whether it's an omitted bow or an unusual seating arrangement during official engagements, small deviations from protocol invite outsized interpretations, suggesting deeper rifts than mere etiquette disputes. Meanwhile, King Charles III finds himself in the unenviable position of mediator-in-chief, juggling familial loyalties and his responsibilities as sovereign. Although he publicly projects composure, insiders hint that he wrestles with an increasing sense of isolation, his every move dissected by both his closest relatives and the public at large. The tension has also seeped into wider discussions about the monarchy's future, with some family members advocating for a more streamlined institution and others standing firmly in defense of long-held customs. The late Queen's approach to modernization, which deftly combined respect for heritage with incremental change, serves as a point of reference, though not everyone agrees on what that legacy should look like in practice. Observers note that younger royals, having grown up in an age of social media and heightened scrutiny, are pressing for greater transparency, a stance that can clash with more traditional inclinations. As these disagreements play out under the watchful eye of the press, even long-time household staff admit they cannot recall a time when so many vital decisions were up in the air. On one side, there are those willing to confront questions of protocol head-on, eager to reshape the crown in a way that resonates with modern audiences. On the other, traditionalists caution against any rash moves that could compromise the monarchy's mystique. Straddling both factions are royals caught in the crossfire, seeking to maintain harmony while adapting to a rapidly evolving landscape. In the end, the true gravity of these tensions may only become clear when the dust settles, if it settles at all. For now, the palace is a swirl of whispers and speculation, each rumor feeding a growing narrative of intrigue that pits personal ambition, family loyalty, and the weight of centuries of tradition in a delicate and potentially volatile balancing act. Whether these struggles lead to a stronger, more unified monarchy or fracture the family's public image remains an open question, one that continues to captivate a global audience eager to see how this storied institution will navigate yet another turning point in its long history. Kate Middleton's increasing prominence within the royal framework has become one of the most notable developments in recent years, capturing the attention of both the British public and international audiences. Initially stepping onto the stage as a poised yet relatively private figure, she has evolved into a key component of the monarchy's broader endeavors, lending her visibility and influence to causes that resonate deeply with modern concerns. While she still represents the grace and composure traditionally associated with royal women, her approach brings a distinctly contemporary flair, one that emphasizes accessibility, empathy, and hands-on involvement in charitable initiatives. Her advocacy for early childhood development, in particular, has struck a chord with a new generation that sees long-term social benefits in nurturing children's mental health from the outset. Through collaborative projects with reputable organizations, Kate has helped spotlight the lasting impact that early interventions and parental support can have on young minds. Outside her official duties, she maintains a warm, approachable style that consistently wins her accolades on social media. Unlike more distant royal figures of decades past, she appears entirely at ease with the idea of connecting with well-wishers online or during impromptu public walkabouts. Observers say her calm demeanor under pressure speaks to her comprehensive preparation before marrying into the family. From carefully curating her fashion choices, each outfit often nodding to British designers and charitable partnerships, to developing her public speaking abilities, Kate methodically built her royal persona. Though early coverage sometimes focused on the fascination surrounding her background, she used that media attention to steer discussions toward her philanthropic passions, gradually redefining what it means to serve the public in a modern context. This meticulous balancing act between tradition and contemporary relevance has earned her the trust not only of senior royals but also of everyday citizens who see in her a bridge between the time-honored duties of the crown and the challenges of the 21st century. Her role as a mother of three further amplifies her relatability, demonstrating that it is possible to juggle royal responsibilities while forging meaningful connections with one's children and the wider community. School drop-offs and extracurricular activities become moments for her to exemplify normalcy within a famously rarefied environment. This blend of domestic warmth and royal dignity has made her an influential figure in shaping the monarchy's evolving image, a testament to her ability to capture public imagination without forsaking the core values of the institution. Behind the scenes, accounts from staff suggest she is diligent, organized, and considerate in her approach to philanthropic planning. Whether it is assembling experts to discuss child psychology or working behind the camera on photography projects that highlight social issues, Kate shows a willingness to delve deeply into the causes she supports. Her engagements often feel less like perfunctory appearances and more like opportunities to create genuine dialogue. This sincerity resonates in an era where authenticity has become a prized currency, and it sets her apart in a royal sphere that can sometimes seem steeped in formality. As she continues to refine her role, many speculate that Kate's influence will only grow, bolstered by a public that appears ready for a monarchy open to adjustment. She seems keenly aware of this responsibility, striving to blend the majesty of royal tradition with a fresher outlook that values emotional intelligence and direct engagement. In doing so, she has carved out a unique position for herself, one that may shape the monarchy's trajectory for decades to come. And while predictions vary about how her influence will manifest in the long term, the consensus among observers is that she has already injected a new, dynamic energy into the institution without losing the sense of continuity that has long defined the royal family's enduring appeal. Queen Camilla's ascension to a central position alongside King Charles III has sparked heated conversations among observers of the British monarchy, many of whom recall the early controversies that surrounded her entrance into the royal fold. Despite gradually earning a measure of public acceptance, debates linger about whether she should hold the title Queen or remain styled as Queen Consort. Some royal commentators suggest that the late Queen Elizabeth II had specifically intended for Camilla to adopt a less prominent role, pointing to official statements made years ago that alluded to Camilla being known primarily as the Duchess of Cornwall. Yet the palace's eventual shift in terminology referring to her as Queen Camilla has fueled suspicions of a deeper power struggle behind closed doors. Rumors of discontent have surfaced among traditionalists, who argue that Camilla's influence in revising certain royal protocols strays too far from the dignified restraint that defined Elizabeth II's era. They claim that her approach, while pragmatic to modern eyes, risks diluting the sense of mystique and gravitas that has long buttressed the monarchy's public image. On the other hand, a quieter faction perceives her presence as a much-needed bridge for Charles, offering him emotional support and helping him transition into kingship with greater confidence. This divide has manifested in subtle gestures such as changes to seating arrangements at official functions and a reassignment of household staff that are interpreted as evidence of shifting loyalties within the royal court. While Camilla's supporters maintain that she has tirelessly dedicated herself to charitable work and forged meaningful connections with key cultural institutions, detractors point to lingering wounds from past scandals. Even now, whispers occasionally circulate that older members of the family remain wary of her position, especially given how perceptions of Camilla once deeply affected public sympathy for Charles. Questions about whether she has truly solidified her place in the Windsor hierarchy are amplified whenever new details about private family gatherings emerge in the tabloids, hinting at tensions just beneath the surface. Camilla's personal style colloquial, forthright, and often self-deprecating contrasts with the more formal bearing of senior royals. This difference garners mixed reactions. Some find her relatable and unpretentious, while others suspect her manner undermines an institution that thrives on timeless ceremony. The resulting tug-of-war has created a climate in which each minor decision regarding her role is scrutinized. Even the simplest public outings can become flashpoints for debate, as supporters applaud her willingness to engage casually with crowds and critics demand a stricter adherence to tradition. As time goes on, many wonder how firmly Camilla's legacy will be cemented in royal history. Will she be remembered as the figure who helped King Charles III navigate uncertain waters, bringing a gentle humanity to the monarchy? Or will future generations view her ascent as emblematic of a fractious era when unity was tested by old resentments and a clash of ideals? For now, the narrative remains fluid, punctuated by both heartfelt praise for her charitable efforts and guarded suspicion from those who question whether she has rightfully earned her newfound status of the crown's power. The monarchy stands at a pivotal moment in its centuries-long narrative, facing a world that no longer unquestioningly accepts inherited authority and ritual. Globalization, social media, and shifting cultural attitudes have converged to create a climate in which every royal action is analyzed and sometimes criticized on a scale unimaginable just a few decades ago. Meanwhile, constitutional questions linger in the background, as nations within the Commonwealth evaluate their ties to a throne that once symbolized unity and stability. King Charles III has taken on the mantle of leadership in a period of heightened scrutiny, grappling with how to uphold tradition while acknowledging the progressive forces reshaping society. At the heart of this transition lies a strategic dilemma: how to retain the gravitas of the crown without appearing overly remote or out of step with modern values. Advisors behind palace walls wrestle with the tension between ceremonial splendor and a growing public expectation for authenticity and accessibility. Critics of the monarchy argue that incremental reforms may not be enough, pointing to the irreparable strain placed upon the institution by scandals and the departure of high-profile family members. Yet supporters counter that the royal family's appeal lies in its capacity to serve as a unifying figurehead, especially in moments of national celebration or collective grief. King Charles's approach to governance, shaped by a lifetime of public service and philanthropy, offers an intriguing window into what the monarchy could become. His past initiatives such as environmental advocacy and interfaith dialogue reveal a strong willingness to engage with global challenges that transcend borders and demographic divides. However, this newfound openness has not gone without criticism, sparking debate over whether royals should remain strictly political symbols or step more confidently into the realm of public commentary. Against this backdrop, the next generation's role remains equally significant. Younger royals, having grown up amid ubiquitous smartphones and 24-hour news cycles, bring a heightened understanding of the digital era's demands. They use social platforms to amplify humanitarian causes, revealing a side of royal life that is far more transparent than in the past. Yet with that transparency comes vulnerability. Controversies can ricochet through online spaces at breakneck speed, making damage control more challenging than ever before. Ultimately, the monarchy's choice is not merely between tradition and modernity, but how to blend the two in a way that fosters public trust. The crown faces an existential test: adapt with integrity, maintaining the timeless ethos of service while demonstrating a genuine commitment to reflection and reform, or risk becoming a ceremonial relic in a rapidly evolving world. In this sense, the crossroads is not defined by a single decision or policy, but by an unfolding series of adjustments large and small that may collectively shape whether the institution endures as a cultural cornerstone or slips into obsolescence. The outcome, while still uncertain, promises to redefine the boundaries of what it means to be royal in the 21st century, offering a glimpse of possibility for a monarchy that can both honor its storied past and illuminate a path toward a more inclusive and dynamic future.